You're sitting in a meeting. Nothing is wrong. Your boss is talking about quarterly numbers. The room is warm. You have a coffee in front of you. And yet, your heart is beating faster than it should. Your jaw is tight. Your leg is bouncing under the table. You feel like something bad is about to happen, even though nothing is. That feeling isn't anxiety. It isn't weakness. It's a 3 million-year-old alarm system that never got the memo that you survived. Your brain is ancient. The part of it that monitors danger. The part that just tensed every muscle in your body when your boss said your name. That structure evolved long before language did. Long before cities, before agriculture, before fire was a tool and not a terror. And it is still running the exact same software it ran when your ancestors were prey. This is the story of why you can't fully relax. Why silence makes you nervous. Why being watched feels threatening even when no one means you harm. And why the most dangerous predator your nervous system ever faced wasn't a lion, it was the unknown. Cast your mind back 2.5 million years. You are not the apex predator. You are small. You are slow compared to most of what wants to eat you. You do not have claws or venom or thick hide. What you have is a brain that is extraordinarily good at one thing: detecting threat before it fully arrives. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux spent decades mapping what he called the fear circuit, specifically the role of the amygdala, a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons buried deep in your temporal lobe. His research showed that when your senses detect something potentially threatening, the signal takes two simultaneous paths. The first path goes directly to the amygdala, bypassing conscious thought entirely. The second path goes to the cortex, the thinking brain, which then evaluates the threat more carefully. LeDoux called the first path the low road and the second the high road. The low road is faster. It fires your stress response before you've had a single conscious thought. This is why you flinch before you understand what startled you. This is why your stomach drops on a roller coaster before your rational mind has processed that you are strapped in and safe. The body reacts before the brain decides. For your ancestors, that half-second advantage was the difference between living and not. The ones who paused to evaluate, is that really a predator or just the wind in the grass? Sometimes didn't survive long enough to find out. The ones whose low road fired fast, who were already running before the thought arrived. Those are the ones who became your grandparents. You are descended from the most paranoid survivors of every dangerous era in human prehistory. Think about what that means for how you move through a Tuesday. Psychologist Martin Seligman introduced a concept he called preparedness, which describes the way humans are not equally afraid of everything. You are far more likely to develop a phobia of snakes, spiders, or heights than of cars, electrical outlets, or knives, even though the latter kill far more people every year. You did not learn to fear snakes in this life. That fear was wired in across generations that lost family members to venomous bites in tall grass before anyone had a word for venom. Your fears are inherited memories, compressed and encoded across thousands of generations, passed down not as stories, but as automatic responses baked into your physiology. And it goes deeper than fear of specific creatures. Your nervous system is specifically calibrated to respond to threats you cannot see yet. Uncertainty, ambiguity, the unfinished signal. Researcher Arne Ohman, whose work on the neuroscience of fear spans several decades, found that the human amygdala responds more powerfully to ambiguous threat than to clear threat. A fully visible predator can be categorized, responded to, escaped from. The rustle in the grass that might be a predator, that is the thing your ancient brain cannot release. That is why unread notifications create dread. That is why not knowing what someone meant by a short, cold reply keeps you awake at night. That is why waiting for test results is often more distressing than receiving bad news. Your brain is not afraid of the certain bad thing. It is afraid of the unresolved signal, the incomplete read, the thing in the grass that hasn't moved yet. Now consider your environment. You are not in the grass. You are in a world designed to be almost entirely safe. You are unlikely to be eaten. You are unlikely to be struck down by a rival tribe while you sleep. The threats are real, but they are abstract. Financial pressure, social judgment, professional failure, loneliness. These threats do not require your muscles or your speed. They require patience, negotiation, sustained thinking. But your brain doesn't know that. It received a stress signal and it began preparing your body to fight or flee. Cortisol flooded your bloodstream. Blood diverted away from your digestive system toward your large muscle groups. Your pain threshold rose. Your vision narrowed. Your immune system partially suppressed to conserve resources for immediate survival. Every one of those responses is exactly correct for an animal being stalked through a savanna. None of them are helpful for answering emails. This is the core mismatch at the center of modern human experience. You have a Paleolithic nervous system running inside a world it was never designed for. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky, in his research on stress physiology in baboons and humans, documented something striking. Most animals experience acute stress, a sudden physical threat, a real predator, and then recover rapidly once the threat passes. Their stress hormones spike, then fall. Their physiology normalizes within minutes. Humans, uniquely, experience chronic stress. You can sustain a full physiological threat response for weeks, months, years, triggered not by anything physical, but by a thought, by a memory, by an imagined future scenario that hasn't happened and may never happen. You can stress yourself sick over a conversation that occurred 3 years ago and a meeting that won't happen for 2 weeks, simultaneously. No lion does this. No elk lies awake replaying a close call. The price of your extraordinary prefrontal cortex, the thing that lets you plan, imagine, anticipate, create, is that it can generate threats that do not exist and sustain your body's response to them indefinitely. Your imagination is the predator. And then there's the watcher effect. You felt this, the unmistakable sensation that someone is looking at you from across a room before you've turned to confirm it. Researcher Rupert Sheldrake documented what he called the sense of being stared at. And while the mechanisms are still debated, the evolutionary basis is clear. Your visual system isn't the only system monitoring your environment. You have a distributed awareness, peripheral cues, micro changes in the behavior of others, shifts in ambient sound and stillness that assembles into a signal before you consciously process it. Being watched by a predator was lethal. Knowing you were being watched before the predator moved and acting on that was survival. So you evolved a system that runs in the background at all times, scanning for the feeling of eyes on you, monitoring social environments for subtle shifts in attention, reading microexpressions, detecting the held breath before a confrontation, in meetings, at parties, scrolling through a room of strangers. That system is still running, still flagging, still whispering that something in the environment is watching. You will never fully turn it off. You are not broken. You are extraordinarily well designed for a world that no longer exists. But here is what makes this strange and almost beautiful. Knowing this changes something. When your jaw is tight in traffic, you are not weak. You are running ancient software that kept your lineage alive through ice ages and migrations and predators that no longer exist. When you spiral at 2 a.m. over something you said, you are not irrational. You are a pattern recognition machine that evolved to over-index on social threat because exile from the group once meant death. When you flinch at a loud sound before you've processed it, you are experiencing Joseph LeDoux's low road, the same pathway that once saved your ancestors' life in tall grass. You are not anxious. You are ancient. The meeting ends. Your boss wraps up. You were never in danger, not even close. Your coffee is cold now. Your leg has stopped bouncing. The cortisol will metabolize. Your breathing slows without you telling it to. And you walk out of that room carrying a nervous system that was never built for this moment, but that has survived every moment that came before it. The hunt ended 3 million years ago. Your brain just hasn't gotten that message yet.